I was 19 when I did these. Getting old. I'm getting old. Welcome guys, it's January 2020 and we are going over a decade of improvement. And not only improvement, but improvement of my art. So I found these three pieces when I was going through my storage, as well as some other things that we're gonna see later this year or later this month. I haven't decided, because when I have art stuff, I seem to have unfinished projects. But anyways, I found these three pieces and they were 10 years old, they were dated, and I thought, wow, you know what? If I redid these, I bet I could really show off where I've come. But I decided I really only wanted to do one, because like this piece, for example, I see nothing wrong with this piece. Well, I mean, I see a lot wrong with this piece, but for 10 years ago, this is not bad at all. So I was thinking colored pencils probably isn't the thing I should be doing, because I used colored pencils for so many years before that. But something that I am pretty new at still, and I've grown with this medium for a while, especially recently, is ink. And not only an ink piece, but a very abstracted, meaningful piece. It has text. It has very bad abstract ink lines and things behind it. But most importantly, this was 10 years ago. I actually think I used like colored pens that you get like an office supply to do this, just because it's so scratchy and things. I don't know if you can see like the lines and things on this, but it's not very neat at all. I don't know what I was doing. I think this is going to show most of my growth in the last 10 years for my art. And I have this size paper, so I'm gonna stay true kind of to the format too, and really just improve. Yes. Time lapse.
Jumping right into this rework, I definitely cleaned this up a lot and gave it more of a design perspective to where it fits cohesively, as opposed to kind of the chaotic look that it originally had when I first accomplished this piece 10 years ago. So I did change the facial attributes a lot, just because they weren't very proportional in the original, and the flag coming out of the mouth I made more like it was coming out of the mouth and not like it was being whispered out of the mouth or whatever. But the phrase I also changed to where it kind of made it into the landscape with the face, and then I shortened the English transition of that phrase to no soul, because the original is Tirgan Chinga Tirgan Unum, which is a country without a language, a country without a soul. And if you know anything about Irish history, when the British took over, they did what the British did, and they tried to turn everything English. So they tried to take their language away, their culture, everything, but the Irish fought back, and that was kind of one of their phrases, motivational phrases, war phrases, whatever you want to say that we're not going to back down, that it's our island, we're going to speak our language, you can't take that away from us, our culture, you know. And I always thought that was a very powerful phrase and a very important part of Irish history. And I changed the positioning of the flags because Northern Ireland is still English based or English owned or whatever, and then the Free State is more of the south places of Ireland. So I just thought it was more appropriate to have the Irish flag south and then the British flag north. So that's a big change in the composition, but I'm still keeping to my original design. And I will go through this and just make everything better. Like you can tell, I'm using alcohol markers as opposed to the really cheap office markers that I used to accomplish this before, because I was very new with ink, and I just had no experience with it. And obviously my design improved a lot here, but also the cleanliness of the overall piece, because alcohol markers, I've learned to just really work with them and get a cleaner look while still kind of keeping my style where it's almost painterly. And I really enjoy that about how this went. But if you've ever seen me use my alcohol markers, there's actually a few videos where I use my alcohol markers, and it's always a number of 3 layers that I try to do anywhere I put a color. So I try to have a light color, a medium color, and a dark color. And then like on the island, I had several colors because I wanted yellows, I wanted greens, I wanted different things. And another thing I do with water-based ink markers is I will scribble down some color and then wash out with water. And I did that for the island, and I will do that for the background when I get to that. But that gives just kind of a splashy texture, and though you have like clean lines, you will have like this very organic texture where the water dries the ink. And I wanted that to show on the background without being super crazy like the original design was. And then keeping that with, you know, some cohesiveness. So I did line in everything after I was done right here. And I used an India ink pen. I will leave it in the description, because a cool thing about this pen is it does activate with water. So after I put this design, I'm going to put a little bit of blue ink down, and then I'm going to wash it to give more of a dark background that really makes this composition pop, and you can really see the contrast when I finish. The pattern that I did choose is just a variation of thick and thin lines going in a single direction, and that just gives it cohesion while giving it that abstract quality that I was looking for. But after I add the water and give it that contrast, I go in the very last and add some highlights with the Jelly Roll pen and call it done.
So here we are, and man, what a difference these pieces made. They're obviously the same concept, the same composition, but I just changed design. This looks like I knew what I was doing. This looks like I just kind of jumped in and started drawing. So the differences are immaculate in my mind. Go ahead and leave in comments and tell me what you think of this growth of a decade. Because as an artist, I feel like I've come to a different part of myself where I actually clean up my work a lot more, because I did so much 10 years ago when I first started doing art a lot, where I would just dump my ideas and create and dump and create and dump and create. And I don't feel like I refined everything. So there's that. But I hope you enjoyed this little 10-year travel experiment with my growth. And if you want to see more audio art videos from me, be sure to subscribe and tune in. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later.